today we're going to continue on with snort, but we have a little difference in that today we will be working with a brand new installation of Ubuntu 25. Now, this is a virtual machine, a virtual machine inside a VirtualBox. And if you click on the settings tab right there, you come over here to about. It tells you a little bit. We got Ubuntu 25.04 and the kernel 6.14, known version 48, so things that we may need to know. But for our purpose, we're going to be working in the terminal, so we're going to hit Control-Alt-T. Now, as this is a brand new install, I've already done some basic things like install GCC, guest editions, but right now I'm gonna install Git because we need it. So I'm gonna say sudo apt install Git, enter password. Okay, yes. And what we're doing here is we're gonna build snort, but first we're going to begin by installing snort's dependencies. And if you don't know what dependencies are, they are pretty much exactly that. They're files or programs that snort depends on and won't compile without them. And a few of them are CMake, Hyperscan, FlatBuffer, SafeInt, LuaJIT, libdnet, libpcap, librsSSL, and OpenSSL. We also need a C++ compiler. So we're going to go ahead and we're in the terminal, we're going to type clear. And we're going to begin by installing some core essentials. So we're going to say sudo, first thing I need to do is get rid of that block. So I come over here to preferences, right click, and I'm going to go to cursor shape I-beam. That's what I like. So we're going to type sudo apt install build essential autoconf libtool. Now we're going to add a new line character. When we go down, we're going to install GCC, but that's already done. G++, Flex, and Bison. And we're going to make CMake package config. Yes. We need 130 megabytes at 88.9 gig. If you're running Ubuntu, or you haven't ran one before in a VirtualBox and you're wanting to on your host machine, that would be the machine where you have VirtualBox installed. You should probably have, at the bare minimum, like 4 gigs of RAM. But ideally you want to have 16, so you can give the machine 4 gigs of RAM and then have plenty left over for your host system. But if you've only got like 4 gigs of RAM, the best you can do is you can give your virtual box like 2 gigs, you know. It's going to be pretty slow. Sometimes this installation stuff takes a little while, so you'll just have to bear with me. You know, the funny thing about streaming on Twitch is I never know so far, like, if I'm actually being broadcast. It seems to be, and it appears I have 1 viewer, so whoever you are, thank you. What I aim to do here is we're going to build a system that is both offensive and defensive. And one of the first things that we're starting with is we're going to install snort, which is a network intrusion detection service. It's also IPS. So now that we've done the first part, we are going to install libpcap right now, the library for packet capture. So what we want to do, okay, just a brief overview right quick. First thing is change directory, user, source. Now your user file right here in the file system, those are like configuration files. You want to be careful what you edit in here. Another file that we're going to be, or directory that we're going to be working with, is the system and application logs. We're going to be using temporary, which is where temporary files are housed and they're cleared on reboot. So we're going to go over a lot. First thing we need to do is change directory into user. And in case you missed how to do that, I'll do it again. So we'll change directory, we'll go back to root. That's the root directory. So now we want to go to user, source. There we are, clear. Okay, so we're going to be installing library packet capture, which we do by cloning from GitHub. So let's do sudo, I keep losing the focus, sudo, what is it, git clone https GitHub /snort3 lib pcap, I think. Let me check that. Oh no, wrong directory. We're going the TCP dump group lib pcap dot git. And this is going to put a directory in this file. And as soon as this is done, we're going to change directory into the library pcap. And then we're going to generate it, configure it, and install it. Okay, so now we want to change directory, libpcap. Okay, now we're going to type sudo dot / autogen dot sh. That means it's a batch file. So, boom. Okay, now we're going to configure sudo desktop / configure prefix equals user / local. Clear. Okay, now we want to do sudo make. Now we're going to build it and install it. Sudo make install. Or actually, we just built it. Now we're going to install it. Install. Okay. Now we want to go back up one. Okay. Now what we can do right here, just for explanatory, we're going to list out the files. Okay. We have 3 directories in this folder. We have the one we just installed and Linux headers. So the next thing we want to do is we want to install the data acquisition library. So we gotta install some dependencies for this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna change directory and we're gonna go back to root. So we're gonna type sudo apt install. We're going to give it the Y flag so we don't have to enter yes. We're telling it right now that we're agreeing. So we're going to install lib pcap dev libdomnet dev z dev. Oh. So let's take that out of there for now. We'll come back to it. Okay, let's clear this. Now, let's go back and try to do that again. zlib blg. No? Oh. Okay. So we have a problem. Okay. That was strange. Okay, so now let us change directory and go back to user source. Alright, now we're going to build the DAC, the data acquisition library. So we're going to say sudo git clone http libdoc.git. Okay. Clear. Now we want to change directory libdoc. Now what we want to do is we want to bootstrap it. Sudo. Clear. Now let's configure. Alright, sudo make. There's a lot of information being relayed on the screen. Can't always read all of it, but it's good to try. To get some kind of insight into exactly what's going on right there. There's a lot of processing that I don't know at this point. One thing about computing, especially with Linux, is that you always learn every day, every time you get on the machine. Okay, now let's go back up a directory. First, let's update the library cache. Okay, now let's go up one.